Before we get to this week's episode of Business Over a Brew, let me tell you about my friends at Roberts Motors. You know, one of our favorite episodes here on the show was when we had a chance to sit down with Sam and John Roberts. If you haven't had a chance to watch that episode, go back and take a look at it. It's great to see the interaction between not only two business partners, but of course father and son as well. They really epitomize what a local business is all about. Number one, doing business the right way, giving back to the community. If you have a chance, you may not buy a car from there, but at least give them the opportunity. Shop robertsmotors.com. You get more at Roberts Motors Ford. More selection, more value. Each vehicle they sell comes with the Roberts Rewards Value Package, which includes oil changes for 2 years, loaner cars, car washes, and much more. Get more at Roberts Motors Ford. Check them out at robertsmotors.com. Now enjoy this week's episode of Business Over a Brew. Welcome to Business Over a Brew. Pleased to be joined in this episode by Brian Campbell with Colman's Campers and sponsored by Fast Eddie's Bon Air. So we'll send Eddie a bill for that.
Yeah, if you're 21 in the mood.
Yeah, the bill just went up. It just got higher. So Brian, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Just tell us a little bit about your background. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? Things like that.
I grew up in Godfrey at Picel Hills, or in Picel Hills technically. Went to school. I graduated from Marquette. I live in Alton now, so I'm pretty much from the area the entire time. Obviously, I went to college for a little while. I went to Carbondale for 2 years before I came back, and I've been here ever since.
So, degree in economics.
I got my degree in economics from SIUE.
What led you into that field?
It was business and math related. So when I moved back, I went to Carbondale for 2 years. I moved back, and then I knew I was going to be in the business field, so I started looking for a job in that type of profession. So I started calling banks. I figured that would be the easiest. I could start as a teller, which I ended up doing. So I called Liberty Bank. They were hiring. They hired me, and I worked there for 4 years. I started as a teller, worked my way up to the loan department. They actually paid for my last year of college. I worked full time and they paid for my last year of college. And then they hired me after I graduated from college. So
I have no idea what makes me say this, but I always thought it would be fun to be a teller. Is it?
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, you just wait on people.
Just talk to people and count money.
Yeah, and count money and do their deposits, make their payments.
Maybe I just think having all that money in my hands during the day would be fun.
There's a lot of people watching you, which there should be. So,
for those that don't know, tell us about you've been involved in several businesses. Obviously, an entrepreneurial spirit. Is that something that was running in the family, or
no? So I don't know when it really started. So in '93 was the flood. I was in 8th grade, going obviously to Marquette. And I had this kind of half job. It was Campbell's Pharmacy. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when he owned it, I'd go work for him. I'd sweep, stock shelves, etc. He'd pay me like $20-$40, buy me dinner. Anyway, that's like
related to him? Or was it
no relation.
No relation.
Just coincidence. And so he had in his basement a snow cone machine. So when it flooded, he was like, "Hey, you want to sell snow cones?" So I was out in front of Campbell's Pharmacy selling snow cones during the flood, and I made a small mint in 8th grade.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
So that was pretty much the start of my entrepreneurial kind of thing. I actually have a picture hanging up in my office of that. It was in the newspaper. So, and then I don't know.
Just kind of got bit by it then, I guess.
Yeah. It was. I knew I always wanted to be in business, whether it was going to be that. I think working at Liberty Bank in the loan department really helped me understand businesses like cash flow, not so much the operations of it, but like just the understanding what needs to be done with a business per se. So like just the relationships between small businesses and community banks is invaluable. Anybody that has a small business, you should have a relationship with a small community bank.
Right.
They seriously can save you in dire times. Where if you're nothing against the national bank, but I mean you just don't have that type of relationship. So
I don't mind mentioning his name, but Steve Thompson at Carrollton Bank. during this whole payroll protection plan was
Right.
so helpful, just keeping me updated. And
Yeah.
I know people that were with big banks were not getting the same
No.
kind of updates
Yeah,
that
and-
I was getting.
Yeah, we used Steve Thompson also, and he was
Send him a bill too. I
yeah,
guess.
exactly. Carrollton Bank, Steve Thompson, go see him. But no, like he was available 24/7. So kind of leading to the pandemic. I mean, we're kind of jumping around if you want to talk about this now, but like in March, we were just talking about this, March 23rd.
Let's start with talk about some of the other businesses that you've been associated with leading into.
Yeah, so let's see. The first business I was involved in was probably Nautilus Fitness Center. I'm going to say that was 12 years ago. Holy crap.
And you're part of the ownership there?
I still am.
I
am. So that was probably my first one. I take that back. I flipped houses. When I was I was still at Liberty Bank, I would flip the occasional house. And then I did, that's actually where I got the capital to buy into when we bought Nautilus Fitness Center. So from there it went, we had 7 Little Caesars. We don't have them anymore. Still flip houses. Man, it seems like I've done more than this. And then obviously bought Colman's 3 years ago with my partner Matt Diamond. And then we started the Campground last year. I think I've done more than that, but it's off the top of my head. That's all I can think of.
If you can't remember them, they weren't that important.
Yeah, exactly.
What led you to be interested in Colman's as a business?
So actually, I worked. So my first job after Liberty Bank actually was working for my partner Vern Van Hoy and Tom Long. That was my partners for Little Caesars. Vern had approached me about a job at Colman's, and I went and met with him. He offered me a significant amount of more money, so it was kind of like, I was like, well. I remember how old I was. What was I, 24 or 5 or something like that? And I was like, well, So I actually started working down there. Then the opportunity arose about Nautilus, and then I bought in with that because Vern was the primary business owner for that. And then that also helped me lead to the Little Caesar stuff with him and Tom.
So things are going pretty well. You're a couple of years in, and then the pandemic hits.
Oh my gosh!
Right about almost a year ago.
Yeah,
from here.
It was actually almost exactly a year. So it was. We were just talking about this. So March 23rd was the day that the governor said that shut the state down. We had just sold close to 100 campers in a 2-week span pre that. So we had some campers like rolling into March, into April. So we shut down. Like you talk about like just panic, we shut down. We don't know what's going on. Our line of credit was maxed out. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, we have to file bankruptcy. Like we're a year and a half into this. I mean, you talk about just
got a bunch of inventory sitting out there.
Oh yeah, you're like, what's going to happen? Type of thing. And the PPP thing did finally come through. That was I want to say the 3rd or 4th week of April almost.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah. So then we actually opened back up May 4th, and then we ended up last year up from the previous year 70%. But like I just went back and looked. Our first 4 months were down 30-something% from the previous year just because we were closed, and it was just.
But just nationwide.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a great thing for your industry.
For our industry, yeah. So and we're still having issues. We still can't get trailers. I want to say we have close to 500 trailers on order. We might get a quarter of that this year. It's just they can't build them quick enough. They have lack of just products, whether it's air conditioners or tires, as goofy as it sounds, like the window framing. It's just, they can't get this stuff to build them quick enough.
Yeah, it is. We've ordered just some things personally for the house. Months ago, and they're nowhere in sight.
No, it's crazy, and that's why, I just can't imagine at some point the economy will just have to just skyrocket, I would think, because of the backlog of everything. I mean, every industry, I think, is, with the exception of maybe, Fast Eddie's. or restaurants, or even where we're at. You know, they were just able to finally open back up. So
I think there's all that pent up demand for, gosh, I haven't been out to a lot of people haven't been out to a restaurant in a long time.
Right.
Maybe you get vaccinated and you're like, let's get back out.
Oh my gosh.
So what do you expect for your business then, for your industry? Because, you know, a lot of people I think decided, well, we can't, you know, we're going to get a camper.
Right.
So is there still going to be that demand, you think? Or?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So a fun statistic is before the pandemic, 1 in 13 people owned a camper. It might sound like a lot, but it's not. That's the equivalent of a redhead.
Right.
So I mean, how many redheads you know? I don't know that many.
Yeah.
So how many people did actually that number increase by, and how many will actually, like, there's going to be a lot of people who hate it, but there's hopefully a lot of people that love it also. So does it become 1 in 12, 1 in 11? I mean, that's a huge increase in an industry.
Sure.
So yeah, I think it will still be busy. Will it be as busy as we've been probably this year and last year? No, but at some point it'll level off and it will be better than it was.
Right. We'll talk a little bit about the campground too, the Five Diamond Campground. I know that's something new for you guys.
Yeah, so we built that. We met with Melissa Erker. I don't know if she's been on here. She's a fantastic person.
She was on the Big Z this morning.
Oh, actually, she actually emailed me this morning. Yeah, she's fantastic, by the way. And
Philip 66.
Philip 66. And
another bill getting sent out.
Yeah. So we met with her, and because we had this idea. So Matt, my business partner, his family owned campgrounds at one time. So we were looking at building a storage facility just to store campers, because our lot, we only have so much space. So we were over there, and Matt's like, "This will be fantastic for a campground." I was like, "You think?" So he's like, "Yeah." So my father-in-law, Dwight Orts, with Orts Welding.
We need a bell. Or something.
Yeah. So he actually set up the meeting with Melissa, because I didn't know Melissa beforehand, and we met with her just to get an idea of like what the demand was for Phillips 66, because we weren't for sure, and come to find out there's this huge demand for it, because there's so many transient customers for Phillips. So we got a lot of people blasted us on
wisecracks on social media.
Oh, it was terrible, and you just want to respond back, but
So we have a plan here.
I was like, it's not a family oriented, So it was geared towards that, and that's what we built it for. And so I think we have this morning we have 26 people there. We can have up to 49. I think we'll have 6 more at the end of this week. Phillips 66 shutdown is in March, so we should probably be full in March, and then if we can stay at a 20-30%, we'll be happy. We will have we've had transient people there, but once again, it wasn't built for that. So like your day-to-day campers, it was built for transient people. So
but outside looking in from a business model standpoint, it seems like it's pretty not a lot. I mean, the people that do stay probably there for a long time, so you don't have to worry about booking and
and they're
not real labor intensive.
And they're actually great people. Like, they're just good, hardworking Americans. They're from all over the country, like Texas, Oklahoma, Montana. They're like from everywhere, and they're just super nice people. They work a lot. They're just good people. So. No, it works for us because it actually has increased our parts. It's increased our service. We've actually sold 1 or 2 campers to a couple of the guys already. So it just fits with our business.
Hey, I like this. You think I can just pull it out of here and take it home?
Yeah, exactly. I would just park it right there for them. So it really works for us. So it was a good addition to our business. So, and it should be a long term. It should be good for us long term and to the area.
I think a lot of people think that maybe haven't camped in a camper before, they think camping. It's not.
No.
I mean, the campers you're selling are just amazing.
They have fireplaces in them, washer and dryers, multiple air conditioners. A lot like islands in them. They're nicer than some people's houses.
So it's a great place to stay.
Especially for those guys. So.
And it's interesting. When I first started camping, it was.
Do you camp?
I do.
Do you have a camper?
I do, yeah. Might be bringing it down to sell it to you if you want to buy it.
Maybe.
But so it was. A lot of the sites didn't have internet, so it was more of a getaway. Now there's hardly any campgrounds that don't have
Right.
internet service, but you
Yeah.
still do get away from your house, and it's a great time to spend with the kids.
Yeah.
truthfully,
So it was actually interesting. A couple of my buddies bought campers during this thing, and they all work from home, but they've been able. The kids were doing remote learning, so they were able to travel all over the place. The parents were able to work from the camper, and the kids were able to do the remote learning from the camper. But they were able to travel to all these different locations.
Just see the country.
Yeah,
you know,
it was actually pretty neat. Like, you don't think about it at the time, but they took the best of the situation and made the best of it. So
it's amazing too. We've got 4 kids, and our camper. I mean, you can fit 4 kids in there pretty comfortably.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's also a little tight at times too.
that's true. That's true. That's when you go outside.
Yeah,
and sit by the fire for
right,
for
exactly.
So you've been involved with a lot of different businesses, from food to fitness to now campers.
Right.
What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs maybe thinking about getting into a business, or just somebody that's like, I want to own a business, but I'm just not sure how to go about it, or even what industry to go in?
Well, one, you need to figure out what you like. I'm still trying to figure that out. I really enjoy what I'm doing now. The food industry for me was not for me.
That's not for a lot of people. I think.
No, it was terrible. Once again, find a good banker. You need a relationship with a bank. I would say that's probably your number one thing. You need to find something else that you enjoy. There's a program in the state of Illinois. It's oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it, but they actually help small businesses start. They will actually guarantee a percentage or a dollar amount of your business, and but it's through a program through. I'll have to find it and I'll get to you.
Okay, yeah.
But it's through the state of Illinois.
I've heard them say on other podcasts, we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah,
we don't really,
you don't do that. Have it like flashing.
Yeah,
yeah.
We'll scroll maybe across the bottom.
Yeah, like for me, it'd be like Bonaire, Wirtz, Phillips 66.
Yeah, right.
So, I think those things are really important. Finding a good accountant is really important, because there's so many things that will you don't even think about.
Things you can take advantage of that you have no idea.
No.
About. Traps you can fall into.
Right,
that you
and
don't have any
it's
clue
terrible.
About,
And if you can find a good mentor or somebody to bounce questions off of that has been in business, because there's so many things that come up that you would have never thought in a million years would happen. And
right, and you've had that.
Yeah, and I've been actually really fortunate. So, I had Vern, Tom Long as partners, both very successful. My father-in-law now, Dwight Wirtz, very successful.
Sure.
So I've been extremely fortunate to have people that I can communicate with. Steve Thompson, even, he's a really good person to talk to. So
I think too, just building that network of people that kind of understand what you're going through on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Man, it can feel like an island sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's terrible sometimes. Like, like finding good insurance.
Right.
It's owning a business is not for the weak.
No,
everybody thinks that.
Oh, you're a rich business
Yeah,
owner.
and that's not the case. Like, you have so many sleepless nights, and if you have to let somebody go, it's like you feel like you're ruining somebody's life, their family.
Even if they deserve it.
It's a ripple effect. It's not just going to affect that one person; it affects their family. So, there's a lot that goes in with a business that it's very stressful at times.
A couple minutes left, but I want to talk about. I know you're an alderman now in Alton too, so just talk about that decision.
Yeah.
To get into that arena.
So I actually I feel. This is how I feel about that. So either put up or shut up. You have all these people that say all this stuff, have more, ideas, but they, I was like, if you're gonna do it, you should actually contribute.
Right.
So I'm running one more time. I'm unopposed.
So you like your chances?
Yeah, they're pretty good. So, but I'm gonna be done after that. I have my 8 years. That's what I committed mentally to myself when I went in. Is I'm trying to help better Alton. I think we were doing a good job up until the pandemic. The pandemic really put a hurting on our finances and stuff in Alton. But but it's also at the same time, it's opened a lot of doors. I've met a lot of people and just across the board. So
so many businesses have. You talk about the pandemic. So many
Yeah.
businesses have found a way to just, and this is kind of just the spirit, I think, of local business owners
Yeah.
and small business owners. They just figured out a way to make it and to
Right.
survive.
right.
Which is one of the things I hate about the second round of payroll protection plan loans is you had to have a 25% loss. And
Right.
and I'm like, I don't know too many buses that can survive that. So you
No.
might have been lucky enough. to
Yeah,
have it,
no,
right?
I did. I was because I
That
went
first
back and
quarter,
looked
right,
at first
yeah.
quarter. It was just terrible. So yeah, we were fortunate. Yeah, and there was not a lot of businesses that did. So
But
No.
it's just just the concept of we're kind of punishing the people that figured out
That-
a way to,
yeah.
to make it work.
well,
you know?
no, yeah, because there's a lot of businesses that weren't down 20. What if they're down 23%? What makes me
Right.
more deserving than
Right.
you
Yeah.
per se? So
And I certainly could have been down 25%. That would have been no problem if you would have. But I tried not to be.
right,
You know, so-
right. Well, yeah, I didn't want to be.
No, exactly right. Yeah.
You know, so no, it was yeah, no, I didn't want to be. It worked out that way, but yeah, it was man, it was brutal. It really was brutal. You talk about emotional swings.
Right. And just, I think the one thing that you don't give enough credit to is just the number of decisions that you have to make in a daily basis, just during regular normal
Right.
times. And then the pandemic comes, you're like, should we have people here? What processes do we need to
Right.
go through? What do I do with my employees?
Yeah.
It was a roller
Do the
coaster.
employees do they want to be here? Do you give them the option to be there?
Right.
Like yeah, no, it was yeah. No, because we gave all the employees if you don't feel you're comfortable, you don't need to be here.
Right.
So no, it was bad.
Well, the community's fortunate to have you here.
Well,
I think
thank you.
Colman's is in good hands in
Yeah.
the future. And thanks a lot for coming on the show. And we'll send some bills out. And you and I split the revenue.
That sounds good. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brian.